to the Droematic Show podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Droematic Show podcast. I am your host, Droematic, along with my special guest co-host today, Danielle The Engineer. Danielle, what's good?
Hi.
Yo,
I'm great.
It took like, 4 months to get you on my show?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a process, but we here now. We here.
But again, though, like 2020 was just like a beast of a year.
Yeah, it was. I'm thankful that we're doing it now, like after kind of like everything kind of settled down a little bit more. We're in the calm of the new year. Well, I wouldn't say calm because it's been a little while, but yeah, the things that happened in 2020 definitely are starting to resolve. So I'm in a good space now to definitely talk a lot more and share more about myself too.
So what took place with you back last year? Like, what were some of the things that you went through on a personal level?
Some of the things I went through, just taking care of my dad, for instance. He recently passed away in November, battling his battle from kidney disease. So that experience was extremely rough. He passed away in November, but before that, I had COVID right before he got sicker. So I battled COVID, and then right before that, so that was in then October, my grandma actually passed away, and that was a huge process of having to go back to my hometown down there in North Carolina, basically where I spent like all my summers and stuff, having to just deal with that. And I've never dealt with so many losses like that before ever in my life, or major losses in general. That was the first time that's ever happened. So for, all those things that happened back to back to back, I'm talking within weeks of each other, like it didn't stop, like from October basically up until December. And then now it's January, things are just now starting to, like, I'm just now like breathing, and I've processed a lot that's going on, and I'm starting to get back in the swing of things finally.
Yo, that was really tough, and I'm kind of going through something similar to you. Like, again, I told you last week I actually got COVID as well. I actually got it from my mom. Yeah. Like right now, she's currently in the hospital. Hopefully right now, I hope she'll get better. But yeah, man, like COVID is just tough. I took your advice. I started taking more zinc, magnesium. Did a lot of multivitamins this week, and luckily I do feel a lot better. So I'm thankful for that. Really thankful for that. But yeah, man, it's just, man, like your, what's the word I'm looking for? But like your drive, like how did it affect your driving? Because you love music. How long have you been in like music, just in general?
In general, I've been, in music in general, I would say it's been like at least 15 years in general with music, because growing up I played clarinet for like over 10 years. Like that was my first introduction to music ever, and I was decent at it, but I just started to kind of lose my passion with it the better I got, I guess. Like I could do it, but it's just my heart really wasn't in it. So I was like, but I love music though. So in high school, my junior year of high school, I took the music tech elective at Central High School 273. And that's how I got started with and with music production in general. I didn't start engineering until 2015, the beginning of 2015. Is when I got an internship at a recording studio, and that was my second semester in college. I was going to Community College of Philadelphia.
What were you?
I was pretty shy.
What were you majoring in?
Oh, my major, sound recording and music technology.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So back then it was like I didn't even know or was interested about engineering until I got in contact with the people at that studio, and I was like, damn, like, I think I should just give it a shot, because I just like at the time I was just kind of making my own little production stuff, and that was it. Like no vocals, no nothing. I never sang or anything. I was just, production. And then I got introduced to recording aspect, mixing, mastering, and then I just fell in love with it and kept going, and I'm still doing it.
Damn, did you have like a mentor like throughout this process, like your early stages?
Yeah, so at the studio I interned at, Steve Sachs, Ethan Mintz, like those were my two mentors there. They taught me the core of the majority of my knowledge with, introducing me to basic techniques, learning the industry in general, learning that we are in a service industry,
right?
Specifically getting taught those types of things. So they start me off the ground running. They would just throw me in the chair and then take away my mouse because they wanted me to learn the hotkeys fast as I could fast.
Right.
So they would just torture me in the session, throw me in the chair. All right, D, run the session, no mouse, you can do it. And they kind of grilled me, and that's how I got real fast on my feet and everything. So that's how I got started with it.
What is your creative process like right now? How does it typically start? Is like a special routine that you go through, or like what gets you going?
Sometimes, all right, so I gotta catch a vibe. I gotta do a vibe check. I'm like, all right, how I'm feeling right now in this moment. I know I gotta create something, and I kind of just I get in tune with myself for a second, and then I'll listen to some music I kind of feel like listening to in that moment. And then from that music, I'll just stop it, sit for a second, and then I'm like, all right, let me just make something. And that's typically how I start to create.
What type of music do you listen to or do you vibe to, like right before you actually start your production sections?
That always depends on my mood and like what I'm trying to do, because I'll do a vibe check, but also one thing I've been doing as of recently is figuring out, okay, where am I? Like, where am I on the map while I'm vibe checking myself?
Right.
So sometimes I'll be like, all right, this is more of an Afrobeat type vibe. I'm feeling myself, okay. Got that vibe going, I'm grooving, and just kind of go with there. Sometimes I can do it that. Or I'm like, oh, no, maybe it's, something like a little more slow, or, like I'll just kind of catch the vibe, figure out like what type of, like extra sounds I want to add based on a region. I kind of want to like take sounds from and then incorporate them into however I feel fit in the song.
What's the best way to train your ears to actually listen to music? Like, what techniques would you say actually help you, like just to have an ear for music?
I would say first start with the music that you love the most, that you know every word to, every little sound you probably kind of notice, but you probably haven't noticed everything because you haven't listened efficiently enough. But start with those songs and start to nitpick. You can start to research who specifically worked on the music, see if there's any behind the scenes things, and just see if you can find about the process of the creation of that song, or whoever the artist is or something like that, and kind of study that and get an ear for that. And then if you go to your own things that you might be touching on, like mixing, mastering, anything like that, start with the very basics. When you start to like notice different, when you notice different techniques and different things you've been listening to, like, oh, that was cool. This sounded something like this. When you're kind of messing around, like really sit down, and when you're turning a knob, really understand what it's doing. I know in Waves specifically, I mean, almost all plugins should have like a PDF file that shows you. Basically, it's an instruction manual for every plugin. So like, if you're confused about how a compressor is, you read that manual. But like, as you're adjusting, just make sure you understand what each knob does, and like listen to the changes. Turn the plugin on and off. Make sure if you could, so you can hear clear-cut differences of, okay, this is what this process does, or this plugin does. Okay, I hear that, and then you can use it appropriately.
Right. Is it one exact way for every engineer to master, or does everyone just master differently?
Nowadays, it is pretty different for most people because I wouldn't even consider myself a mastering engineer. I just use a mastering process when I mix, so it kind of mimics.
Okay, so what's the difference between mastering Gimmick? Is that what you said?
I use mastering tech. Like I fake the master basically in a way that makes the when I put something on the stereo out. That's my mastering process, is on that stereo out. When the stereo out is all the signal coming in from the song. So that's your beat, all of your vocals and everything on one track. So now I'm manipulating this one track with everything in it. So that's my mastering process of manipulating that specifically using like limiters or Ozone 9 by Isotope is really, really dope. Mastering plugin as well. Everybody has kind of a slightly different process, but that's pretty much all it is now.
Okay, I got you. Right now, you're in Philly, so all of my listeners that are listening right now, the Philly music scene, I know we touched a little bit on this maybe a couple of weeks ago before we actually decided to do the show. Where's the state of Philly music right now? What category would you put it in right now with the Philly state of music? I mean, do you feel like everybody's coming together like they're supposed to on the Philly music scene, or do you feel like it's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe separation. Like, does the Philly music scene, do they really come together?
I think there was a time. I felt this in the scene where there was some separation. It was just like everyone has a clique, and this is the clique I roll with, and then that's it, right? But now, especially with the pandemic, things feel different. You know, there's more of a sense of unity, like, oh, we gotta stick together, we have to come together to support each other to make it out of this. So I'm finding that now the support is great in the city. From what I'm feeling, what I experience, especially with the people I'm working with, everybody wants to support each other in the circles that I'm involved in. So that to me is a great sign that like things are starting to improve, because Philly has so much talent.
It's rich in
so much talent. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so much talent, but a lot of times those talented artists don't have the resources like you would in you know, if you're in New York City or if you're in LA, Atlanta. Sometimes those resources really aren't in Philly, or they are in Philly, but they're really hard to find and they're kind of limited. So it can make it hard for artists, but at the same time, for me as an engineer working with 99% of the people I work with are independent artists, and they're all really dope. They're all dope. Everybody's hungry. It's like, yo, we're going to, like, everybody has something like they want to say, and I'm making sure it's my job to make sure that message comes across. It's clear, high quality. It's possible, the best sound it can be. But the independent scene, I think right now it's flourishing. I think once things with COVID kind of settle down, when live shows pop off, it's a wrap. It's going to, I feel like the independent music scene in general, everywhere is going to start to explode as soon as we can get into live venues again. Like, it's going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to that.
Who should we be watching out for, like, right now in Philly? Somebody that you actually working with. Who can we be looking out for here in the next couple of months?
Oh, I could give a you want to make me go on my phone and give you a whole list for just a little rundown of my people. Like, we got I'm just going to my Instagram right now. We got Kyle J _. I've been working with him a lot. We have Say Hi To. Her and I are working on an album together. Her name's spelled TSEHAITU _ on IG. She's super dope, amazing vocals. Just scrolling down, Reggie Do That. We worked on a whole album together this summer. Well, in 2020. So that was a whole experience working on that album with him during the whole parallelogram going on, right. And just the progression of everything that's been going on. And then we finally finished the project maybe 2 weeks ago. So hearing that still, I'll list a few more. Who else I got in here? No Tomorrow. No Tomorrow TMRRW _. That's my man's for real. Sunny, Don't Leak. Please Don't Leak on Instagram. They're dope. I Am Solstice Ray, an amazing singer. Also my best friend. Like, it just, the list goes on. Just me like scrolling.
No, that's deep.
Kill G's. Like, shout out to G's. It's so many people. Like, Philly is just so. Oh, Mikey Banga in here. In my DM. Tokyo French. I mean, I can just keep go. I mean, endlessly. I can keep going with the Sean Vegas. Definitely shout out to Sean. Like, it's a lot of Philly. Is crazy. Philly has a whole lot of people on the up and up right now who just, you know, like I said, it's all about, you know, that this just shift right now happening in the industry right now. So I think with that shift coming into this new year, like, I think some of the people I even mentioned and the people I'm working with in general, other people, I think they're going to start getting the spotlight on that they very much so deserve.
Yeah. And you right now, like, you actually do beats as well, right, Danielle?
I don't market myself as a beat maker at all. Actually, I stopped doing that
Why'd you stop?
Years ago.
Wow.
Cause all right, so as an engineer now. You guys, the word's gonna, you know, start going around. Oh shit, I can do everything, right? Being a jack of all trades. That's kind of mentally taxing. To have someone come in, you know, a lot of times, no ideas, no nothing. Hey, I just want to make a song. I got a hook ready, and you know, that's it, something like that. And for me to have to do that every most of my sessions, to have to make everything on the spot, then okay, now we got to come back. Now I gotta build all the transitions. I have to mix the entire song. I have to mix my the beat that I actually created. Matt, you know, it's a lot. And because I couldn't just sell a beat, it was never just selling a beat. It was like, okay, let me buy this beat. I'm gonna come with you, record, do the, you know, everything.
Right.
Yeah, all right. So it's not beat making is not my thing. I'm a producer for sure. Like, I'm definitely a producer when it comes to sounds. Like, I started as a producer, not an artist, but as a producer myself, so making my own sounds for me to.
Are you better with singers or MCs?
Oh, I wouldn't say better. I'm great at both. To be honest, like, I can just capture whatever that energy, that like rawness you give me in a song. I will hear exactly what you're trying to do without it being mixed. Like, I'm like, all right, I got you. That's how I feel. I just kind of enhance what the person's already giving me and what I hear them speaking already. To me, the mix is already there. I'm just putting it into reality from in my head.
Yeah. When you were younger, Danielle, what were some of the artists that really inspired you?
Ooh, I would say the first artist I really like, ears poked up, like, what is this? Anything made by Pharrell. And it got to the point where
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
Oh my God, everything Pharrell, because at a certain point, he was making like 30-40% of the music on the radio. It was insane. So his sound was like embedded in me, just hearing all these hits in so different, in a wide range of artists, wide range of sounds, but you still knew it was him each and every track. That to me blew my mind when I started to really research and really get into the sound and everything. And what peaked for me was just listening to NERD, he would, you know, do all his production work with Neptunes and, like, you know, Jay-Z and shit. And then to go to NERD, I'm like, whoa. So he was my first, like, oh my goodness, I'm in love. I need to figure out what he's doing. How did he do this? How did he make these sounds? He was definitely number one. I would say number two, who caught my interest with sound, would be Lil B, the bass god. Shouts out to Lil B. His sound, first of all, he would drop so much music.
Right. And
at one point, he was just dropping flame tape after flame tape. It was just crazy. And I was just so intrigued, and just his messages and everything about his positivity and loving everybody. That came at a time, I think I was in high school. That came at a time I needed to hear stuff like that, needed to hear carefree music, just creating.
Right.
So just to hear his carefreeness, yet when he needed to spit or needed to say some real shit, he spoke his real shit. That that was dope for me to listen in. But also with him, I would listen in to like my favorite songs of his, and I'm like, yo, why does the quality sound so bad? What happened? I be wondering like, yo, B, what happened? And people who know B, people who know his B, y'all know what I'm talking about. Sometimes the the quality wasn't that great with some distortion issues, but that also sparked my curiosity. Like, what is distortion? Just hearing distortion on his tracks made me wanted to know, why does this song sound like this, but a Drake song on the radio sounds like this? So him, and then my third person who kind of solidified me starting getting into actual production, I would say would be Lex Luger. Just hearing all those hits he made.
Yeah, he got some hits.
I guess, around like 2010 to like 2013, 2014 with Lex. Oh my God. He took over the game, and he was a young boy at the time. Like, I think he was like maybe 19. It probably just 19 when like Blowing Money Fast came out or something like that. Mm-hmm. So like he was a young bull just doing all this shit, and I just was so captivated by his sound. Like, he was another person. I'm like, yo, anytime I heard his producer tag was a sound. That's what got me. It was a sound. It wasn't no talking. You knew that sound. You knew it was Lex Luger. So I was like, yo, I love him. So I started, at the time I had a cracked version of FL on this old Windows laptop. So I was like, yo, all right, I'm gonna, had an old version of that, but it was bad crack because it was actually the trial version. I couldn't get it to work, but I downloaded all these Lex Luger packs, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna make beats. So I started. That was the first pack I ever downloaded, was by Lex Luger. So he was my inspiration. Like, oh, let me just make some shit. Let me just try something. And, so.
What's some of the industry standard mixing boards that you're mostly working with right now in your sessions?
I rarely honestly use any board you see me in front of. It's actually rare that we record out of it in general. Sometimes I'll do it just to do it. I get bored. Some sounds sometimes. I get bored. I'm like, damn, I'm tired of something sounding the same all the time. So I'll just switch it up and I'll record through the board. But typically when I'm recording, if I'm mobile, I record from a Apollo Twin Quad that I have. That thing's a beast. That's my baby boy. So that's what I use whenever I'm traveling and doing sessions. But in some studios they have like Avalon preamps. Those are the most popular, but definitely working with hip hop stuff. So a lot of industry standard equipment I work with, but for my personal when I'm doing my mobile sessions, this is my Apollo Twin Quad. That's my little baby.
Yeah, the Apollo's pretty strong.
Yes.
What advice would you give any up and coming audio engineer right now? They're struggling. They're really trying to find their sound and trying to really understand how the game works. What advice would you give them?
Don't try to learn too much at once, because it can be very overwhelming. The information, it's a lot of information. You will, you'll never know everything about engineering ever. So step one, humble yourself, because you're not going to know things, and that's fine. It's great. It's a great thing not to know things. So step one is that. Step two, then start to learn. Take your time. Like, master each individual step that you have to do in a mix first. Like, okay, if you want to EQ first in a mix, you learn all the ins and outs of your EQ. Learn it. Learn how to EQ, what you're supposed to be taking out, what you're adding in, taking out. Learn all of it. Just go take baby steps. Because like I said, if you try to take in too much information, you won't master it all at once, and you'll just have it, and you just have all these terms and stuff that you don't understand, be confusing. Then you're, this is too hard, I'll give up.
Yeah.
But take your time. For those. So, and then my third tip of advice: be friendly. Sometimes you're going to have to work for free. I would say the first 2 years, I want to say ish, when I first started engineering, I didn't get paid.
For the first 2 years, you didn't get paid?
Nah, I was
man.
I got paid here and like every once in a while, like if it was like if I actually ran a longer session, oh, you know what, like you definitely deserve something. But like in general, I would just be asking people like, can you record with me? Like actually just reaching out to people. So don't be afraid to reach out and be social. Take advantage of all social media apps. Just connect with other people, other engineers, and start from there. Because if you're just in your bedroom, trying to master everything, it's not going to work like that. So branch out, talk to people. If you're financially able to, I definitely recommend taking some sort of schooling if you can. Doesn't have to be a fancy university. Like, cause I went to Community College of Philadelphia, and their sound recording and music tech program is phenomenal.
Oh, really?
Like, every year was new upgrades. Like, I spaced out my program for about 4 years. It was a 2-year program. I was able to space out, and like it was every year that it was so many additions, so much new equipment they put in the lab. Any software plugins you needed. Paul Geisinger he was on the ball with everything. So don't sleep on your local community colleges for any type of music tech information.
Nice. Danielle, do you still reach out to other engineers for advice?
Absolutely. I've been connecting with so many engineers on this new app called Clubhouse. It's not fair. It's fairly new for most people.
You like Clubhouse also?
Oh yeah, I'm getting it popping on Clubhouse. Like, it's so fun to just talk to people who speak the same language as me. I'm like, oh my God, y'all are some big ass nerds, but I love you guys.
Right.
Like, we can talk, we can mingle, we share stories. We ask. It's a great space in Clubhouse when you find the right rooms to ask questions like, "Hey, what do you guys think about this piece of equipment?" Or, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this," or, "Hey, I don't know how this mix is sounding. I've been mixing it for so long." Like, just to have a network of people I can ask for advice, questions, anything, or referrals in general, just in case we're in different cities, so they know I'm in a city and they have someone ask them about going to my city. We'll link each other up with people like that. So it's crucial to be in contact with other engineers. But that's how, as of lately, I've been in contact with a lot of people, and it's been amazing.
Yeah. Danielle, let me ask you this. Some producers and engineers, when they're working with certain artists, and if they're working with them from top to bottom, from the beginning to the end of that album, would you recommend for them to bring in like some second ears sometimes, just to see if there's something that they could be missing when they're actually listening to the album? What do you think about that? Some people disagree with that, but I always felt like when I was in music back in the day, I always wanted to get like a second ear, a producer to listen, just to kind of see if there's anything that my original producer is missing. What do you think about that?
I think that's an absolute must, in my personal opinion and professional opinion. And I'm just gonna say it. I tell people, don't do everything yourself, because you don't have to. Like, I get this one example. Everyone loves to use Russ as an example. He does it all. He produced, he engineered, he recorded, he did, that's Russ though. Like, nobody is Russ but Russ. So you can't bank on being like the next Russ and just trying to do everything yourself. Well, in actuality, Russ isn't doing all of his work by himself in his room, no contact with any other people. No one knows what he's doing. He does have a team. He might be doing a lot on his team, but he does have a team. So it's very, very crucial to build your foundation of a team, so you can bring those people into sessions, people whose opinions you're going to trust. Don't bring your yes men. No yes men.
No yes men, right?
21. None of that. Yeah, none of that. Bring some people who genuinely vibe with you. They want to hear your sound. They want to hear whatever you're doing, your message, anything. Bring those people to your sessions, or share your music with them and get that feedback, because that's crucial. You don't want to miss out the opportunity of potentially taking your song to the next level just by somebody hearing it and hearing something you didn't even think of, just because they've heard different things, their different experiences in their own life. Something like that can pop up. So don't ever, feel like you have to, hermit with your music. Let people hear it. We want to, let your folks hear it. Fine. And if you don't have those folks, get on social media and find your people, because your people are out there for real. So I 1000% recommend it.
an artist that can accept constructive criticism. I mean, how important is it to actually, like you were saying earlier about like not being around yes men and things like that. What about an artist that just can't really accept constructive criticism? How far are they going to really go into the industry if they can't accept that?
Okay, so that's going to, so if you can't accept any criticism, you're really not going to make it far. Because sometimes I got criticized for many years about my production work, right? With getting criticism, and I took it.
Did it make you better?
At the same time, no, it didn't actually, because my criticism for my production was like, yo, you need to make trap beats. This ain't it. Like, it's not, you can't, don't go for the house, because I'm making like house type vibes, like good vibey music, right. Not necessarily always hip hop stuff, but like hip hop inspired things that just make you groove or move, or just whatever my mood was, I expressed it with sounds, right? So I would show people my work, and they're like, yo, no, you gotta make it this vibe, do this, do that, so somebody could rap on it. That was all people were telling me for a minute. And I was like, I don't want to make beats for people to rap on. Like, this is my sound, my music. Like, if someone's going to take it, like, it has to be like a collaborative effort for one. And it can't just be something like, oh, I'm gonna rap on it and then it'll never come out or some shit. Like, I take a lot of pride into what I'm doing, so having those people tell me that, it did discourage me for a minute, so I stopped producing for like a full year.
Wow.
Up until full year off of production. And then last year, because I was like, let me just focus on mixing, mastering, recording, let me do that. And then I got hooked up with Say Hi To. She messaged me on Instagram about producing her album, and at first I was like, damn, like, I don't know if I want to do it. I didn't know, because I hadn't produced in a year, just from having those people in my ear. And then I was like, you know what? I can't make up a way to tell this girl no. So I'm gonna tell her yes. I'm just like, let's see what happens. And now we have 2 albums basically.
Oh, man.
One album's basically done. 2. Yeah, we split one album into 2. So we make some crazy shit. So a lot of times you gotta really take criticism, but analyze it in a way. You can't take all the criticism in and just hold on to it. You gotta sometimes you gotta dig through the bullshit of some criticism and kind of take it lightly sometimes, because sometimes it could be that people aren't used to your sound. You can be ahead of your time, for real. Like, I felt like my stuff was low key ahead of the time because people weren't used to hearing that.
Yeah. So
that's why I got criticized a lot more than I was expecting. And it wasn't a terrible thing. It was just like, switch your sound up, basically. But sometimes you have to take criticism with a grain of salt, but you absolutely know when someone's telling you some real stuff about what you're doing. Some like, yo, I think you should try this, do this, see how that sounds, because, and they give a reason for it. Not, oh bro, oh, this is cheeks. No, I don't like that. Like, you don't want that, so you gotta kind of dig through it, but not all criticism will be great, but it's something to take from anything anybody says.
Right. I couldn't say that any better. I mean, that's a jewel right there, for real.
Yeah.
So Danielle, what you got coming up in the next few months? What projects are you working on right now?
Right now, I actually have a lot of new folks starting to come in. A lot of the projects I worked on from last year kind of like wrapping up now, and being released. So now I have new people starting to come in, and people who finished projects with are starting to like plan ahead, like, all right, so I'm starting new projects. So I would say within the next few months, you'll definitely see on my feed just a ton of like dope artists from not only from Philly, but I'm working for people all around the world sending me mixes.
Nice.
Like just now, before we got on the phone, I was actually working on a mix from somebody in Spain.
Oh,
so
nice.
Hopefully I'll get to. Yeah, I want to keep showcasing my sound through all different artists from different regions and different areas, and just putting my little touch to it. So definitely hearing more of what I can do, and for sure hearing Say Hi To and I's album Dragons, that first album coming out within the next few months, and that's going to be insane. nothing like anyone's ever heard before. When two Black women get together and create music
thing,
just
right?
based off of feelings, and it, oh my goodness, it's having people sit in those sessions. They're captivated. They've never experienced that type of energy shift, especially in a session with, you don't, a Black woman engineer isn't a thing. So, and then working with another Black woman, it's just so special and it's dope. So, like, to showcase what we're going to work on, what we've been working on, what we've experienced, because a lot of the album, the EP that's going to drop, it really, the time frame that we worked on it was from basically the beginning of summer up
of last year.
Now, with throughout. Yeah, last summer up until now, all of the stuff that's been going on, especially in my life. She has something happen in her life as well. So it's like, as the music progressed, as we were experiencing those things, and things changed as my sound switched up. When my dad passed away, because I stopped making music from October. So I wasn't in the studio for at least 2 to 3 months, basically. So just to hear our journey and the sounds that we've been creating, it gets me emotional when I hear it sometimes. Now I'm like, oh my goodness, like I feel everything she's saying, and everything, all of my sounds put in there as well. Just like using my sound, like I'm using the sounds I'm creating as my own voice, because I'm not a rapper, singer, nothing.
Right.
So to just hear and experience that album as it is now, we're almost done. Like, we still got to do live instruments, but it's like, oh my goodness. So,
oh man, you got me excited about that.
Album. Yeah, no, it's epic. It's so epic. I'm gonna make sure I send it to you before it's out, so you can hear. You're gonna be like, you're not gonna expect it.
Oh man,
it's great. It's
you got me smiling.
It's great vibes, like music. We're missing the vibe and feeling of music now. It's so commercialized, and that's fine. Make your bread, TikTok money. I get it, but I'm about them feels. Like, I be in my feels a lot, and I want to express my feels. It's okay to express our feels. So this is music that's going to bring some feels out. You're going to relate to at least one song. One song is going to have you for sure. Let's put it like that. So. Oh
man, I got can't wait for my listeners to hear this. But Danielle, listen, this was one of the most intriguing interviews I've ever done with an engineer. If people want to get in touch with you, want to work with you, learn more about you, how can they get in touch with you on social media?
Best way, we can start with Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Danielle The Engineer, DANIELLE, and then engineer. Follow me on there, DM me, hit me up. My email is also connected onto my Instagram. I'm also on Twitter, The Engineer Danny on there. But yeah, those are the two main ways. Instagram, Twitter, email. Get in contact with me. I'm definitely down to tap in with anybody listening right now who's intrigued as well. I love to hear the word intrigued.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love connecting with people, hearing, get feedback on what things I'm doing. I love giving feedback on something someone else is doing. So if anyone else is hearing this and I'm like, man, like, I'm kind of questioning my mixes, or I don't know, maybe I do need professional mixing. Like, I love lending my ear out to people, giving honest, unbiased feedback to what you guys want to. So.
Danielle, I'm thinking, I think we should do maybe a segment where you actually do a tutorial where we can actually just get some of our listeners some questions. And you can actually just do a tutorial. So, I mean, because this definitely isn't the last time you guys are going to hear Danielle on my podcast. I'm actually going out to Philly, so she better get ready for that.
Yeah, we definitely going to link up for sure.
For sure. But listen, Danielle,
I would love all that.
Yeah. I think my listeners will too. Like, this is a really good show. So I'm really ready to hear feedback from my listeners on this. But Danielle, listen, I know you got to go, so I'm not going to hold you up anymore. It was so much fun bringing you onto the show. I'm so glad you came on. I can't wait till the next time I actually bring you back. Like, you're just a ball of joy. I love it.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to come back. This is gonna be great. I'm so excited.
It is. All right, Danielle, I know you gotta leave, so I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye. All right.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for having me. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
You've just listened to the Droematic Show podcast with your host, Droematic.